Imagine you are living in the roaring 20s. Things were constantly changing for good. Women were allowed to vote, and practically everyone was rich because of the Wall Street stock market everyone was investing in. Americans lived in cities for the first time in all of history. Jazz music was the next big thing, and fancy suits and feather dresses were very popular. Altogether, life was good, and everyone was happy. But then, in 1929, the month of October, the stock market suddenly crashes, causing mass panic to you and all your friends. On October 29th, known as Black Thursday, everyone you know cashes in all their stocks, not knowing that over 16 million stocks were cashed in that day. Your stocks were completely worthless. And banks started failing. This was the start of the Great Depression. You are listening to WJHS 91.5 The Eagle. Welcome to Media in the Making, a podcast where we look at evolution of media from 1600 all the way to present day. In this podcast series, we ask, how have different forms of media evolved and changed culture? Media in the Making, where media and culture are always changing. Now let's take a step back in time. The Great Depression is something we all probably were taught about in school. But how much do we really know? The Great Depression started in 1929 and ended in 1939. But it wasn't at its worst until 1933. At that time, over 15 million people were unemployed and over half of America's banks were failing. This is about 11,000 banks. In fact, the stock market lost 90% of its value. We were truly not doing well. Families' income dropped about 40%, and hundreds and thousands of families couldn't pay their mortgages and were evicted from their homes, leaving the homeless population higher than ever before. Many people were scared and hurt and didn't know what to do. It was estimated that over half of America's children didn't have proper housing, food, or medical care in the Great Depression. Because of this, it is estimated around 3 million children died of starvation and many other diseases. To put that in perspective for you, in 2021, America's city of Chicago, Illinois, has a population of 3 million people. Now that you have a little more insight into what the Great Depression was like, let's take a little breather from the sad and dark times of the Great Depression and look at someone who made a great impact during that time and made that dull light shine even brighter. In fact, he still makes an impact to this very day. Let's play you one of this person's many creations and see if you can guess who it is.
Started it. Ladies do not start fights, but they can finish them.
If you guessed Walt Disney, then you are correct. Walt Disney had many big hits during the Great Depression, some of which you might know. Steamboat Willie being the first ever short animation film created in 1928. But it was really popular, you guessed it, in 1933. Before Walt created these animation films, kids of all ages had to live in the real world. See, TV wasn't made for kids really in this time. TV was more for the adults to get information on what was happening. Walt Disney's Steamboat Willie changed TV history for the rest of time. If you're a parent, older sibling, or maybe an older cousin, then you know what the feeling is like to protect them from the real world at all costs. Walt's animations gave parents a huge relief knowing that their kids wouldn't have to know how bad the Great Depression really was. And they could say, happy little kids. But the kids were not just the people that were affected by this. Adults would watch these too all the time because the need for an escape from the real world became even bigger. The film wasn't just for watching purposes either. In 1933, The Three Little Pigs came out and people took it to heart. The song from the movie, The Big Bad Wolf, became an anthem for the Great Depression, making that Great Depression the Big Bad Wolf. This is so important because it gave people hope and gave people courage to not be so scared. Walt Disney's first animation movie was created in 1937 with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If Disney never created those short animated films and movies, the world most likely would never be the same. starting from the Great Depression to even now with the global pandemic. Kids' animated films from businesses like Disney are being used worldwide for sources of entertainment, education, and most importantly, an escape for reality. Media in the Making, brought to you by WJHS 91.5 and the Eagle Tech Academy media classes. Media in the Making, teaching you about the evolution of media throughout history and its effects on culture. For more from the students, more podcasting series are on the 91.5 website, WJHS91.5.org. Thank you for joining us.
Do you ever wonder, what did people use to record before we had cell phones? How did people save their videos to watch another time? Hi, I'm your host, Vanessa Fry, and today you're listening to WJHS 91.5, The Eagle. Welcome to Media in the Making, a podcast where we look at the evolution of media from 1600 all the way to present day. In this podcast series, we ask, how have different forms of media evolved and changed culture? Media in the Making, where media and culture are always changing. Now, let's take a step back in time. All the way back in the year 1983, the first ever consumer camcorder came out. It was a device that recorded audios and videos. The purpose of this invention was to record family memories that were so special to them that they got to be put on the top shelf and collect dust. People that especially had little ones went absolutely crazy over the camcorders. They overlooked the average price, which was $528, and instead they looked at it as a portable memory box that you could cherish forever. It affected people's lives immensely. An article called the OrlandoCentennial.com, it says, there was an upturn in birth rates, the rise of two-income families, and increasing of traveling with fuel because of the camcorder sales. That's insane. The integration of the camcorders into family life has spurred the growth of industry. Parents and vacation travelers are among the biggest buyers, and camcorders seem to be ever present at weddings and graduations. Because of this small portable device, the camcorder started to become one of the fastest growing consumer electronic products to come out. It even started to replace the VCR. The percentage of households owning a camcorder will exceed anything film has ever achieved. It changed the way people created and even consumed media. An article called Rich Media says, how the public consumes media is changing, and fast. Millennials and Gen Y are leading the move away from TV land towards consumer digital content. Because of technology and the enhance of it, the camcorders kept moving its way up. The more they upgraded it, it was affecting business, only making more and more money. And the marketing business was through the roof. Each year, the cost and size of the camcorder went down every year, even more, which made more sales. Today, more than 30 brands of camcorders are sold in the U.S. The leading brands are Panasonic and RCA, which together hold 30% of the camcorder market. Behind them follows Sony, which has 12% of market share. As time went on, the evolution of media and the camcorder started to become more than a device used for keepsakes. They started to be an increasing appearance of amateur videos on local and national TV. And in 1989, its purpose was used for golf swings, wills, video postcards, property insurance inventories, and video dating. Some things that people have caught with their own personal camcorders is insane. Like a man named Samuel LeBud taped a fisherman slaughtering a school of dolphins as they captured tuna because of the camcorder. He was able to show proof and give this man charges for hurting such amazing creatures, also my favorite animal. A few more incidents was the camcorder was able to capture amateur photos to tape the explosion of a target on the USS Iowa, a helicopter crash in Milwaukee, and a Detroit drug gang counting its stacks full of money. Lastly, a jet crash at the West German Air Show. All of these incidents got solved or helped get closer to solving crimes and accidents, and they couldn't have done it if we didn't have the invention of the camcorder. It was empowering people with a tool of mass communication. It changed the average cost, and it went up to $940. But the percentage of households owning a camcorder was down to 8%. time went on, and in the late 1990s to early 2000s, companies started finding more durable and convenient ways to upgrade a camcorder, just as every other idea and item that has entered the marketing business. The first touchscreen cell phones were coming out, and people saw something new and cool, just how the marketing business wanted them to react. And from then on, every year to every other year, a upgraded new phone has came out that has a camera and audio videos, with more storage, data, and it's pocket-sized. The camcorder has been pushed to the side on the boring shelf of the store. Do you ever wonder what people used to record before we had cell phones? How people saved their videos to watch another time? And the answer is the camcorder. You now know how the camcorder has affected family lives, how it affected marketing and business, also the news. It changed media for the better and improved the world positively, also adding another device on the list that enhanced technology. Media in the Making is brought to you by WJHS 91.5 and the Eagle Tech Academy media classes. Media in the Making, teaching you about the evolution of media throughout history and its effects on culture. For more from the students, more podcasting series on the 91.5 website, WJHS91.5.org. Thank you for watching.